With her first ever appearance at Paris Fashion Week.
Paris was supposed to be her comeback moment. The flashing cameras, the silk gowns, the world's fashion elite watching from the front row. This was Meghan Markle's grand re-entry into the upper echelons of glamour and influence. But instead of applause and admiration, what Meghan got next was something straight out of her nightmares. South Park, yes, again, dropped a savage new episode that roasted her Paris Fashion Week appearance to pieces. And the fallout? Well, it left the Duchess of Sussex reportedly in tears, questioning how it had all gone so wrong. Again, let's rewind. The world had barely recovered from the chaos of Meghan's Jamgate and her wine brand flop when she appeared in Paris, draped in a cream ensemble that screamed old money chic. She was trying to send a message. Meghan is back. The palace can't silence her. The press can't break her. And Hollywood? Well, she was ready to charm it all over again. But while she strutted confidently through the event, there was a different kind of storm brewing, not in the front row, but inside the writer's room of South Park.
Okay, what are you doing?
You know, relaxing.
According to insiders, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the infamous duo behind the animated Chaos Machine, had been quietly working on a follow-up to their viral worldwide privacy tour episode, the one that sent Meghan and Harry's PR team into meltdown mode last year. Only this time, they weren't holding anything back. The new episode, titled The Duchess of Desperation, aired just days after Meghan's Paris appearance, and it was brutal. It featured a cartoon Duchess with a near-identical beige outfit, marching through Paris Fashion Week, waving dramatically to imaginary photographers as the crowd yawned. The joke? She wasn't actually invited. The episode's tagline, "When relevance calls, and no one answers."
If it's truly what we want, then we really can get away from it all. No more magazines and Netflix shows.
And that's where the laughter started. From London to Los Angeles, social media lit up like wildfire. Clips from the episode hit X, formerly Twitter, TikTok, and Reddit, racking up millions of views in hours. Hashtags like South Park Meghan and Duchess of Desperation trended for 2 days straight. Even worse, the internet started stitching Meghan's real Paris clips next to the cartoon version, comparing her poses, her facial expressions, even her hand waves to the exaggerated parody. And in every comparison, the resemblance was uncanny. South Park didn't even need to exaggerate, one TikToker joked. She did it for them. For Meghan, who had been counting on the Paris trip to soften her image and woo European fashion houses, it was a devastating blow. Sources close to her told tabloids that she was heartbroken and humiliated. Apparently, she broke down in tears when she saw the episode trending, saying she felt mocked on an international stage. But here's the thing. South Park didn't just go after Meghan's fashion choices. They went for her entire brand.
But because your family like stupid and then so are like journalists?
In one scathing scene, the cartoon Duchess sits front row at a fictional fashion show called Virtue Verite, a parody of Meghan's authenticity branding. As she's ignored by designers and influencers, she pulls out a notepad and begins brainstorming new ways to appear relatable. Her first idea? Start a podcast about not being understood. Her second? Launch a fashion line made entirely from recycled headlines. Ouch! The cartoon even took aim at Meghan's real-life deals, referencing her Spotify fallout, her Netflix delays, and the constant rumors about her upcoming lifestyle brand. At one point, her animated assistant says, "Your podcast about vulnerability has been canceled again." The audience howled. The real Meghan? Not so much. Reports out of Montecito claim she was devastated and furious at the show's creators, calling it cruel and misogynistic. Harry, ever the defender, allegedly wanted to call his lawyers to explore options. Though legal experts quickly pointed out, satire is protected. And South Park? They thrive on controversy.
Duchess of Sussex taking her 4.2 million Instagram followers.
But behind the outrage, there was something deeper, something that struck a nerve. Meghan's image had already been wobbling under the weight of failed projects and dwindling public sympathy. Now, being mocked again by the same show that helped tank her credibility the first time, it felt like a symbolic full circle. One insider told Page 6, "It's Meghan's worst fear, becoming a punchline. She's built her identity around being taken seriously, being seen as powerful and misunderstood. But South Park turned her story into a running joke. And to make matters worse, even Hollywood didn't rush to defend her. When the first South Park parody aired last year, a few A-listers subtly showed sympathy, some tweeting about bullying or unfair media treatment. But this time, silence. Not a word from Oprah, not a post from Tyler Perry, not even a subtle emoji from her Hollywood circle. It's as if everyone knew. Mocking Meghan Markle had become mainstream entertainment.
I'm sick of hearing about them, but I can't get away from them. They're everywhere, in my face. Look, Kyle, we just kind of don't care about some dumb prince and his stupid wife.
Meanwhile, the memes just kept rolling. One viral tweet read, "South Park just did more damage to Meghan's brand in 22 minutes than the palace could in 2 years." Another quipped, "If she wanted privacy, maybe she shouldn't have walked into Paris with a camera crew." The more Meghan's team tried to contain it, the worse it got. Her PR team reportedly reached out to certain media outlets, asking them to avoid platforming misogynistic content, but that only fueled the story. Because when South Park is involved, trying to silence the joke becomes part of the joke. And that's exactly what happened.
From when he worked at Valentino. They always keep moving around. And front row seats, I mean, he was chatting up with Anna Wintour of Vogue.
By the next morning, social media users had rebranded Meghan as the Duchess of Desperation in comments and captions across multiple platforms. Even fashion blogs, the ones that usually tread lightly, began running side-by-side comparisons of Meghan's outfit with the cartoon version, cheekily captioned, "Art imitates life." For Meghan, who has spent years trying to reinvent herself from royal rebel to global influencer, this moment was more than just a meme. It was a reminder that her grip on the public narrative might finally be slipping for good.
Destruction of Meghan and Harry just because it's so funny.
And perhaps the most ironic part? Meghan reportedly had been in early talks with a French luxury label before Paris Fashion Week, hoping to collaborate on a future campaign. But after the South Park storm hit, the brand quietly backed out. As one insider put it, no brand wants to become part of the punchline. So there she was, in her California mansion, watching the world laugh while her Paris dream turned into another PR disaster. The comeback that was supposed to rewrite her legacy had instead reignited her biggest nightmare. But Meghan being Meghan, she wasn't about to sit back and take it. Not this time, because behind the tears and headlines, sources say she began making calls to her lawyers, to her PR strategists, and even to an old ally from Hollywood, determined to fight back and reclaim her narrative once again. If there's one thing Meghan Markle hates more than bad press, it's being laughed at. And this time, the laughter was global. Within 48 hours of South Park's savage Duchess of Desperation episode airing, Meghan reportedly went into full-blown crisis mode inside her Montecito mansion. Eyewitnesses claimed that the Sussex estate, normally a serene backdrop for Netflix specials and rose wine photo shoots, had turned into a PR war room. The air was thick with tension. Calls were being made at all hours. Meghan's personal team was scrambling. Harry was pacing, and the mood, utter panic. She was livid, one insider told The Sun. It wasn't just about being mocked. She felt betrayed. Betrayed by Hollywood, betrayed by her friends, and betrayed by the silence. And that silence was deafening. Because unlike last time, when South Park's worldwide privacy tour sparked a brief celebrity defense from Meghan's supporters, this time no one wanted to touch the controversy. Everyone, from the fashion editors she once courted to the talk show hosts she used to charm, was keeping their distance. The reason? The clip had gone too viral. It wasn't just trending, it was a cultural moment. Even late-night hosts joined in, adding their own tongue-in-cheek comments about the episode. One joked, "South Park didn't create Meghan's Paris moment, they just filmed it better." That one stung. According to royal correspondence, Meghan's team immediately contacted her attorneys to review potential defamation or privacy violations. But the advice they got back was brutal. South Park was untouchable. It was parody, and parody was legally protected. So if Meghan couldn't fight them legally, she'd do what she does best: fight them through the media. Within days, an anonymous source close to the Duchess began feeding sympathetic quotes to glossy magazines. Articles started appearing with headlines like, "Meghan's pain, inside her private battle after new cartoon humiliation, and Duchess of Strength how Meghan Markle continues to rise above hate." But instead of inspiring sympathy, the reaction was the opposite. Commenters flooded the articles with mockery. "Rising above hate? She's literally suing cartoons," one wrote. Another said, "If she spent half as much time laughing at herself as she does calling lawyers, she'd actually be likable." Even worse, South Park's official social media account responded to one of those sympathetic headlines with a single savage line: "When they tell you to stop watching, but it's about you." Oof, that single post racked up over 1 million likes, and the internet erupted again. Trey Parker and Matt Stone didn't even need to do interviews. Their silence became the statement. Their indifference was louder than Meghan's outrage. And while Meghan's team tried to pivot, pitching new empowerment appearances and sending feelers to friendly talk shows, it was clear that the cultural tide had turned. Even people who once defended her were now rolling their eyes. One Hollywood producer was quoted saying, "The thing about Meghan is, she doesn't know when to stop. She could have ignored it and the internet would have moved on. But by reacting, she fed the fire. And the fire was spreading fast, because now South Park fans were combing through the episode frame by frame, pointing out hidden Easter eggs that mocked other parts of Meghan's life. In one scene, the cartoon Duchess looks into a mirror labeled "Reflections of Royalty," only to see herself holding a script titled "The Meghan Show," a jab at her rumored Netflix project. Another scene shows her handing out jars of jam to cartoon celebrities who promptly toss them into the trash, a cruel nod to her failed American Riviera Orchard brand. It wasn't just parody, it was annihilation. And yet, despite all that, Meghan refused to give up. According to insiders, she began drafting a public empowerment essay about resilience and bullying, planning to publish it through a major outlet like Vogue or The Cut. The essay, insiders said, would talk about how women in power are too often caricatured or punished for ambition. It would position her as the victim of systemic misogyny wrapped in cartoon humor. But when her draft began circulating behind the scenes, editors reportedly balked. One source told Page Six, "There was fear it would look like she can't take a joke. That essay would have made her seem fragile, exactly what South Park was mocking. So the piece was quietly shelved." Meanwhile, South Park's viewership skyrocketed. The Duchess of Desperation episode became one of their most streamed installments of the year. And every headline Meghan's team tried to bury only pushed the story further into the spotlight. Then came the final humiliation. During a red carpet event in Los Angeles, a paparazzi shouted at Harry and Meghan as they exited their car, "Hey Meghan, will there be a season 2 of your South Park episode?" The crowd laughed, cameras flashed, Harry's jaw clenched. Meghan's face froze. It was the moment she realized this wasn't just another tabloid scandal. This was cultural ridicule on a level she couldn't spin, couldn't manage, and couldn't outrun. Back in Montecito, insiders say Meghan spiraled. She reportedly canceled scheduled Zoom meetings, avoided calls, and spent days off social media. Harry tried to console her, telling her the backlash would fade. But it wasn't fading, it was mutating. You see, the South Park controversy had opened the floodgates again. Old clips, old interviews, even old stories about her pre-royal life began resurfacing across platforms. Users started digging into her past, her acting days, her Hollywood connections, her estranged family. It was as if the internet had rediscovered its favorite sport, dissecting Meghan Markle. And just like that, the Duchess who once commanded global fascination was now a punchline with a trending hashtag. But the most surprising twist came not from Meghan, but from the palace. As the chaos unfolded, royal sources began leaking quiet, pointed comments to the press. One insider told The Telegraph, The palace has no comment on fictional portrayals, but one might say satire often reveals truth more sharply than speeches. Translation: even the royals were laughing. And that's what hurt the most. For Meghan, this wasn't just about a cartoon, it was about legacy. She had spent years trying to position herself as the modern Diana, a woman wronged by the institution. But now, she was the Duchess who couldn't stop suing jokes. The optics were disastrous. The narrative had shifted from brave truth-teller to fragile celebrity. And in Hollywood, perception is everything. As one insider bluntly put it, if you become the person everyone's afraid to joke about, you're untouchable. But if you become the joke itself, you're finished. And for Meghan Markle, that realization hit like a thunderclap. The Paris dream was dead, the comeback had collapsed, and the South Park parody that started as just another cartoon had officially detonated one of the biggest PR meltdowns of her career. But this wasn't the end. Not yet. Because behind the scenes, Meghan was already plotting her next move. Something bolder, something that, in her mind, would turn humiliation into triumph. What she didn't know was that it would only make things worse.